Hey everyone, Gaijin! Ugh, for crying out loud! Hey, Briar Rose, wake the heck up!
What? Huh?
I'm walking in on broken images, man. I thought you were editing this.
Sorry, dude. My body just didn't want to get out of bed.
It's a new mattress, huh?
Yeah.
I can't help it, man. It's just been that cozy. Even when I only get 5 hours or so of sleep, I'm waking up feeling pretty good. Because the cool thing about Helix Mattress is that you actually can go to their website and take a quick test to determine what kind of mattress that you need. Stuff like mattress softness or firmness, temperature control, how often you have back pain, things like that. So you get a mattress that fits your specific needs. Like they've even got Helix Plus mattresses for big and tall folks or Helix Kid mattresses for youngsters. And I know it all sounds weird to buy a mattress that you've personally not laid down on, but these folks offer a 100-night sleep trial, so if you don't like it, you're not stuck with the mattress. And on top of that, each mattress has a 10-year warranty. And I get it, I was skeptical too, but when I took my test, I was suggested the Helix Midnight with medium firmness, pressure redistribution for sleeping on my side, with the added Glaciotex and Lux layers. And I said it to y'all before, as soon as I got in that thing, I sunk down into it and just completely crashed. And I'm still floored at just how small a box this thing comes in. Don't get me wrong, it was a full-size queen mattress, but it ships vacuum sealed right to the foot of your front door, which not only makes shipping really simple, but setup's really easy too. All you gotta do is just take the box in the room where you're gonna put the mattress, cut it open, and watch it puff up. That's it. And like I said, with the Midnight Lux mattress, it just feels like I sink into a cloud, and it conks me out so hard that, personally, I get better quality sleep. Even if I'm only sleeping for 5 hours or so, I wake up feeling great, and that quality over quantity thing really works for my schedule. So if you've been eyeing a new bed and want something specifically built for you, hit up my link in the description, helixsleep.com/gaijingoomba, or scan that QR code on screen to get 20% off your own personalized mattress. Like, the older I get, the more important a good night's sleep is becoming, and I cannot suggest a personalized mattress built for your needs enough. So I hope you all check this out. Alright. There we go. I got the image pathing fixed, so you should be good to go, my guy.
Thank you kindly. Okay, so, boy howdy, does it seem like there's a lot of animosity around the general concept of samurai on the internet lately. Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk of history rewriting, which is pretty gross, and it shouldn't be ignored, but never in my life did I imagine that the cool Japan bubble would get so big that we'd be standing on the precipice of an international scandal when it comes to samurai portrayed in games. But while the internet has spent months arguing about Yasuke and his lack of insightful historical references to his occupation, and the historical legitimacy of female samurai towards the end of the Sengoku Jidai with Ghost of Yote, I've been muddling about in a game that, without any doubt, portrays samurai in the most historically accurate way that I've ever seen in gaming. Yeah, I know I've said that before, and I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but I really do mean it. Warlord Owachi by Dark Matter Games may really have the best representation of samurai out there at present. It's a sort of chivalry-like game that has you hacking and stabbing in first person as you whittle down enemy numbers and capture their spawn points indicated by each team's flag. Now, I know these guys have the facial realism of a character from King of the Hill, but honestly, despite only just a demo being available, I am utterly floored at how historically samurai these blocky fellows are compared to our gaming alternatives. So, how, you may ask? How in the world could this be one of the most accurate depictions of samurai in gaming? Well, for as hard as it may be, let's pull away from this pristine visage and check out what they're wearing. Cause you see, something that might be surprising to a few folks is the fact that by simply looking at a samurai's armor, you can tell in what century it was made, and by proxy, when the game theoretically takes place in. And this is unmistakably Oyoroi armor. Armor that was popularized in the Heian period of the late 900s up to the Mongol invasion of the 1200s. I mean, shoot, this isn't even a reference. It just is straight up Oyoroi armor as stated under the equipment screen. But that's not the only period armor you get access to in this game. I mean, at first you've got nothing. And truth be told, this looks like a jinbei with the short pants and the waist-length robe shirt, but that wasn't popularized till the Edo period, like 500 years later. Not so much pre to early 1000 BCE. If I had to guess, I think this is supposed to be something like kosolde, or like underclothing. Which would make sense considering it's what your unlockable armor goes over. First with the unlocks is the haraate, which is the lightest armor of the time period. Obviously considered it's little more than a belly guard as the name infers, and while the cheapness of this armor for the sake of fielding more troops may seem kinda lame, this is one of the most maneuverable pieces of armor of the time, which considering a lot of soldiers are slinging spears around, isn't as bad as you might think, and more on that in just a sec. The next unlock is the Haramaki, or belly wrap armor, accompanied with a small sode on the shoulders and a bit of armored skirt around the crotch. Obvious reasoning. And again, protecting far less than the proper Oyoroi, but also again, you're way more flexible on the ground to run, swing, and stab. Not too much to say in addition to the next unlock with the Haramaki Kote, because it's basically the exact same thing with armored sleeves and a sunyate. Not sure why it's not called Haramaki Kote Sunyate, but I guess that's too much of a mouthful. Whatever. Which finally leaves us with the Oyoroi proper armor, and this is the part of the video where I have to chuckle just a little bit. Remember how I kept saying that the Haramaki and even the Haraate were way better choices of on-foot armor? Well, this is why. Oyoroi armor was specifically built for samurai on horseback. The boxy skirt armor, the wider kabuto, the awesomely massive sode shoulder guards. This was a lot of extra protection for warriors on horseback. But as soon as you were boots on the ground, the bulkiness of this armor would absolutely be a hindrance. And the reason why I chuckle is that in Warlord Awaji, there are no horses. Yet. Again, the game's in alpha, so who knows what's gonna be coming. But I have to giggle just a bit at the fact that the Masters of Kyuba no Michi, the Way of Horse and Bow, don't have any bows or horses. Again, though early beta, I'll be very surprised if this game doesn't incorporate one if not both of these concepts. Even if they don't, I still get it. This is a video game, and it needs balance after all. And aside from the armor to help decipher the time period, there's also head and armor accessories. The head accessories I'm not too focused on. I mean, you've got an atypical Chonmage hairstyle, a head wrap, two kinds of eboshi, and a kabuto, which, yeah, the eboshi and kabuto are emblematic of high class, but those are symbols spread out across a lot of Japan's history. Nah, it's the armor accessories that I want to check out. There's the Nodowa, a tied-on neck protector made of banded plates or tightly woven straps. There's the Hoate, a kind of jaw and chin protector made of lacquered iron. There's the Kuwagata, an incredibly large U-shaped swooping crest decor, although this decorative crest could be of any shape or size. And finally, the Horo, which is a kind of cape ribbed with light material plating that, when inflated, was believed to protect oneself from rear arrow attacks? I guess the best way you could describe it is a Bushi airbag from behind. I mean, that's the ongoing theory anyway. I've had a couple of skeptics that argue that it was just a decorative cape, but either way, it was also a piece of gear that distinguished the bearer on the battlefield as being an individual of great importance, which makes sense as to why it's the last piece of gear you can unlock. Actually, you know, truth be told, all four of these armor accessories are unlocked at about the same rate as they would be made available from a no-name samurai up to a high-ranking one. Same with the armor too, now that I think about it. This makes even the gameplay aspect of unlocking armor and accessorizing parallel to history. So why'd I spend about 5 minutes going over all that? Well, because based on the character designs and aesthetics, we can actually pinpoint within 100 years when this game would theoretically take place. Oyoroi armor, as mentioned before, has been used from the late 900s to the mid-1200s. A good start, but still way too broad. However, the various Haraate and Haramaki armors are cited as being more in use around the Kamakura period of 1185 to 1333, which narrows it down to nearly a century and a half. That might not sound like much, but considering samurai history is arguably 900 years old, this is pretty telling as to when this game is supposed to take place. Now, if I were a betting shroom, I'd say this game represents the Genpei War of 1180 to 1185, and I say that because, aside from the Chokyu War, I really can't think of any super large conflicts within Japan that would act as a big backdrop to this game. But that's just my analysis anyway. But either way, that in itself is pretty impressive in terms of representing samurai history. But we're not even close to being done. Let's get into the actual gameplay of this game, because it's here where gaming conventions are broken and history shines through. In the early levels of the game, you just have your Tachi and Tanto, and side note, notice I didn't say katana, which were shorter, more curved, more durable, and not invented until the Mongol invasions. Prior to that, samurai used the much longer Tachi swords, which you can see actually in-game. Appropriate setting of the time period. And I say Tanto versus any other short blades here as it matches the blade's length and straightness of what we see in-game. I know some may say this is a wakizashi, but I don't know. But anyway, Tachi. They kinda suck in this game, not gonna lie. Tanto even more so. Like, you can use them in mirror matches, but the moment someone rolls up with a Yari, Naginata, or God help you an Odachi, you're in for an uphill battle. And I love it! Because when it came down to the historical battlefields of Kamakura, Japan, the polearm was king. Naginata were pretty slick as they could stab and slice, but Yari were both cheaper and easier to use, thus cutting costs and training time for roughly the same martial capability. So yeah, if you play this game, the best thing you could possibly do is find one of these two polearms on the battlefield and don't look back. As you level up though, you do get access to starting off with these weapons, but yeah, before then, pick one of these up ASAP off of someone. Personally though, I kinda prefer the Odachi in game, as it breaks stamina of your opponents faster than a 5k after Thanksgiving. And another interesting choice of the game design too is that the concept of a colossal Tachi that could cut through horses also started around the Kamakura period. Yeah, that was the intended purpose of this weapon, and by God does it reflect in the gameplay. Something else historical that reflects in the gameplay too is the color coding of characters, or lack thereof. Prior to a recent update, I actually struggled discerning friend from foe in-game, as it felt like every member on the battlefield was wearing something different. Bit of a problem for gameplay, but completely spot on for historical accuracy. Cause like, even up to the 1600s, there was no army uniform coding. Like, maybe individual clans shared specific colors, but in larger battles, the only way you could tell friend from foe was the Sashimono. Thankfully, though, in game, you now have an option of having allies lighting up in blue and enemies in red. Still though, I get what the devs were going for. Finally, and this is the big one, this is the very first game I have ever played that utilizes the very real Japanese samurai concept of kubi-jiken, the process of taking enemy heads to be dressed and displayed to military leaders in order to advance in personal rank, stature, and income. Unlike the corporate ladder-climbing rat race of today, the way that a samurai went from a no-name to a legend was the process of collecting heads of slain enemies. The more important the enemy was in terms of rank, the greater degree of prestige one would obtain. Theoretically, anyway. Your military commander still had to approve everything, and there was more than one instance of people stealing each other's heads, or lying about whose head was taken. Thankfully in-game, you don't really have to worry about that. Now, I know this looks really macabre, but for as brutal as this is pretty historically correct. Within the confines of gameplay mechanics, anyway. Each time you gravely wound, kill, or take the head of an enemy, you gain XP, which goes to unlocking better and better weapons and armor. Granted, there's no actual kubi-jiken ceremony of showing off your collected heads to your military superior. You just get XP and that's that, but again, this is the only instance in a video game where I've seen kubi-jiken be even marginally represented within game mechanics. Heck, when you wound, kill, or take the head of an enemy, you're actually given the historical name of the rank of the warrior you just took down alongside an appropriate XP point value. The higher the rank of the enemy, the more XP you gain. I won't go over each one as this video is kinda bloated enough, but trust me when I say it's all there and it's all accurate. Finally, there's one last thing I want to make mention of when it comes to this deceptively simple game. When battles are over, you don't immediately leave the field and queue up for the next game. Sure, you get a quick alert that lets you know if you won or lost, but everyone keeps fighting, at least until they're disarmed from stamina loss. Now, if you're fighting anyone low rank, when they're disarmed, they simply surrender, wherein you can execute them if you want, but you get very little XP for doing so. I assume because you just brutalized a conscript farmer who didn't have a choice in the matter, who had a farm to go back to. However, if you disarm anyone of moderate to high rank, they will kneel down and you see a brand new prompt appear. Kaishakunin. And my eyes went wide as soon as I saw that, because this is a prompt to aid in the defeated samurai's seppuku. Now, not gonna explain seppuku, I think most of you know what it is at this point. However, what some of you may not know is that this action is not usually done alone. Typically, there is an assistant called a kaishakunin who takes the head of the samurai performing seppuku. This is done because the process is incredibly painful, and as soon as that pain manifests, it's the kaishakunin's job to stop the suffering with a single, clean removal of the head. If the kaishakunin can't do it in one swipe or missed, yeah, let's just say you're tainted forever. And believe it or not, all of the above concepts are represented in a brief action in this game. As soon as you initiate the kaishakunin prompt, the samurai will take out their tanto, cut into their belly, and as soon as that happens, you have a very brief window of time where you need to strike and sever the head. I know this looks a bit goofy here, but remember, we're trapped in the confines of a video game. But what's more important is that while you get over 50 XP for doing this correctly, which by the way is the largest allotment of XP given for doing anything that you can do in this game, if you screw up and accidentally hit the body or arms, the game registers this as an execution and your XP gain plummets to a near negligible gain. And this is freaking awesome. Modern sensitivity aside, the fact that a game which looks like this goes so far out of its way to incorporate so tiny of details of samurai history, and it does it with such near impunity, even incorporating things into the gameplay that I've never seen anywhere else. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because while there have been months and months of debate and anger being thrown around about games like Shadows and Yote, the latter of which I'm still excited for, don't get me wrong, the indie industry is being completely ignored, despite the fact that the people who are working on this historically driven game are actually taking the time to properly understand the history behind the settings and incorporating it into gameplay mechanics. That is gold to me. That's what my career's been all about for the last freaking decade. So look, do me a favor, okay? Go check out this game. The demo is free, you can run it on a potato, you got no excuse not to. All I know is that as soon as the campaign is ready and the game launches completely, I'm gonna be all over it. In the meantime though, if you want to be all over a bed that you can get your best sleep on, go check out Helix. Get a bed designed for you, get it delivered to your house within a manageable size box, and take 20% off your order with our link in the description and QR code on screen. And thank you to all our patrons who not only made this video possible, cause yeah, there were lots of potentially bigger topics we could have covered, but also for letting us continue to work on this and our other channels without worrying about going broke. We say it all the time, but we mean it. Without you all, we absolutely could not do this anymore. So thank you for supporting us, gang. And if you want to learn even more about Japan through your favorite games, anime, movies, and more, sub up, get notified, and until next time everyone, this is Gaijin Goomba, signing out.